Hello there, it's Alana Taki, and I'm back to give you more calculator help. This time we're going to talk about how to find the vertex of a parabola with our calculators. And I'm using the specifics of a vertex with a parabola, but of course it would actually work for finding any maximum or minimum on a calculator. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to find the vertex of this function right here. And we already did it by hand if you were following along in the notes, but that's okay. We'll do it with calculator to verify our work by hand, right? Okay, so let me pull up a calculator. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to type in my equation, which was negative x squared. Oh, rats, I don't remember. Hold on. Minus 6x minus 4. Okay. Minus 6x minus 4. And just a little reminder, the negative in front is not a subtraction. It's a negative, so you have to use that little parentheses negative down at the bottom, that button. All right, so I've got that in there. I don't actually have to press enter, but I did it. And then I press graph, and I hope that it's on screen. Woot, it's on screen. Okay, now if it's not on screen, if when you graph it, the parabola, you can't see the peak or the valley, you can't see the maximum and the vertex, then you have to go to the window and adjust and adjust and adjust until you find that vertex. It has to be on the screen for the calculator to find it. We were lucky this time we didn't have to bother. Cool. All right, so then we're going to go to second trace, right, which is calculate. We want the graph calculate menu. And there are several options in here. We've already worked with number 2, which was 0. This time we're going to work with either the, and we've also worked with intersect, by the way, in chapter 3 and chapter, I believe 6. But we're going to deal with minimum and maximum here, because a vertex is either the highest point or the lowest point that a parabola graph ever reaches. So when you're finding the vertex, what you're really doing is finding something called a minimum or a maximum, which ends up being more important in calculus if you go on in mathematics. But suffice to say, at this graph, let me go back to the graph, that's going to be a maximum for us, right? So when the graph faces downward, the vertex is the max. If the graph faces upward, like a bowl shape, then the vertex will be the minimum. All right, so let's go to second calc. We're going to pick number 4. It's a maximum, so if you just press 4, it happens. Now here's the tricky part. It's going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, and we've had this before for both the zeros and for the intersections, I believe. So for the left bound, we've got to move left, 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 left on this one. And of course, if the parabola is over here on the right, then you're going to have to move right to get to it. But one way or another, you've got to get this cursor, this little blinky cursor guy, so that he's to the left of that maximum. Anywhere on the left will actually do. Right? I'm going to pick right here. Enter. Okay, and you'll see there's a little arrow pointing to the right, which means it's going to only, the graph is, or the function and the calculator is only going to look to the right of this. So now it needs a right bound. It needs limits. Basically, you're giving it the 2 edges through which it's going to find that maximum. It has to do with the algorithm that runs it on a calculator, the program, essentially. So I'm going to go over here and right. Anywhere on the right will do as long as you're to the right of that maximum. So I'm on the right of it, so I'm going to press enter. And then guess, well, you can kind of get close to it. You can kind of get up close to the peak, or you can just press enter. And there it is. Now notice it totally messed up, right? All right, so I'm so glad it did that. That happens sometimes. So the other time that I did it, it messed up in a slightly different way. It made it negative 3.00003, and this time I did it, it made negative 3.0000001. It's not really messing up. I mean, the calculator basically runs a program, and it, like, I don't want to get into it, but it basically looks and looks and looks until it gets kind of a certain number of decimal places and says, nah, that's good enough, right? So you, as the student, have to know, okay, it's not really negative 3.00001. It's really negative 3. The calculator's just kind of given up. Calculator's lazy. The calculator's very smart, but not very wise sometimes, right? So if the calculator was wise, it would know to round that for us to negative 3, but it doesn't. So we're just going to have to deal. All right, so I hope that's helpful. So again, you either type in the equation into y equals, or you get it from a regression, because sometimes we're doing regression to get these problems, and you store your regression equation. And then you graph. It's got to be on screen or you're in trouble. Go second calc, hit either number 3 if it's a parabola up, which this one wasn't. This was a parabola facing down, so we're going to pick number 4. You got to move to the left. You got to move to the right. Gonna get to that right of that peak. Enter, enter. There, it messed up slightly again in a different way. It happens. All right, I hope that helps. I'll see you back here for more videos. Next time I think we're going to talk about quadratic regression. Exciting.